What's up everyone, Boomslangg here with yet another video about The Division, and today we're going to be talking about some of the changes coming in update 1.3, which can be found in the full patch notes on The Division's website. I will leave a link to that in the description box below so you guys can go check out all of the nitty-gritty details for yourself. There's some things in here I'm not going to talk about, like the underground itself. I've already made a video about that. Not going to talk about the new gear sets or any of the new weapons because I have videos on that as well. I do want to talk a little bit though about Dragon's Nest. So here's the details from the website, what it says. Travel to Hell's Kitchen and investigate rumors of a new cleaner weapon that can wreak havoc throughout Manhattan. Now we've heard some rumors about this and I don't want to spoil it for you, but it has something to do with a fire truck, and you can see that in the gameplay clip. Now you must be level 30 and have completed the mission General Assembly to access the incursion. The encounter is balanced for a team of 4 players outfitted with high level gear like all of the other incursions that are in the game, and heroic mode will be made available 1 week after release. Now there's going to be some new toys that the cleaners have learned to kind of mod for themselves. Taking a page from the LMB's book, there are now going to be drones in this, and this is not a leak or anything like that. It's in the gameplay clip, you can see it. There are drones that are going to be in this new incursion. Also, I may or may not have actually seen it before, so I think you guys are going to be really excited about this. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. So this is something that I'm really pumped for. I'm probably just as pumped for this as I am for the underground itself. So with that in mind, like I said, I wasn't going to talk about the weapons, but there are several variants of each one of the weapons, so I'm pretty excited for that, having different kinds of variants of that. You'll be able to see a list of that with the link in the description box below. So let's talk about some of the new things that are coming. There is going to be a added challenge mode difficulty for 2 new main missions, the Hudson Refugee Camp and the Queens Tunnel Camp. So if you guys like doing challenge missions, then these are going to be, a new option for you to do. Hopefully they'll add those into the rotation of the daily missions. There's also going to be added a new heroic mode difficulty. You're going to be able to fight even stronger enemies to unlock top tier rewards, and available main missions with heroic are going to be Refugee Camp, Queens Tunnel Camp, Russian Consulate, Lincoln Tunnel Checkpoint, Lexington Event Center, and the Warren Gate Power Plant. And this heroic challenge mode is also going to be available for all of the incursions that are coming up. But you need to remember that for Dragon's Nest, it's not coming out until a week after release of Underground, so you won't be able to do that. And daily missions will not support heroic difficulty. One of the coolest things that's happening though is the base of operations is getting an extension. There's going to be a new section in the base of the operation called the Terminal. This is a new shared social space inside of the base of operations. This is something that I am really excited for. I was really hoping that they would do something to incorporate a social space within the base of operations, if not make the whole base a social space, because it just got kind of lonely inside of the base. And I thought that was, since that was the hub of all of the agents in the entire division, why can't we meet people inside here and group up? So the fact that they added this is really cool, and it's kind of interesting that it's kind of like the tower, the terminal, kind of similar names, but it makes sense. You're going to be able to go in here and meet up with people. The terminal can be found in the back of the base of the operation next to the rewards claim vendor. Also within the base, you're going to visit high value target contractors and all new vendors. The special equipment vendor has been split into 2 vendors within the terminal, the items vendor and the blueprint vendor, and players can also fast travel to the terminal. Instead of having to fast travel in front of the base, we can now fast travel directly to the terminal. We'll be inside of our base. We don't have to go through the slow walk of getting inside. So that is really cool. I'm really excited for this area. This is something that really needed to be added to the game. Super pumped about this. Next up, weapon recalibration. We are now going to be able to recalibrate our weapon talents at the recalibration bench. But remember, it's only going to be one of the weapon talents. Once you do that, then the rest are locked. You can't recalibrate any of the others. Now, recalibrating the weapon talent requires weapon kits and Phoenix credits. Weapon kits can be acquired through drops in the game, or they can be crafted. So now we're going to be able to use more of the drops that we get out in the game instead of waiting for RNG to bless us with that one perfect gun that we've been waiting for. Now on to the meaty part of this. We are getting a lot of game changes. The gameplay changes are going to include an added new Dark Zone bracket for 231 plus gear score players. So that way when people start getting this new gear, the new gear scores that are going to be bumped up to 268 for the gear sets and 229 for high ends, people who are up there above it and getting a lot of good gear are going to be able to play with people who are more on their level. And this is a huge one. This is one that people have been wanting for a really long time. Player stash size has increased to 70 total slots, including base operation upgrades. So you have to upgrade your base in order to get the extra slots, but it's going to be up to 70 slots. So this is going to be an amazing added a feature. People have been really wanting this, really stoked for this. Next up, level 30 players will now only encounter level 30 or higher enemy NPCs in the free roam. So this is going to make running around in the world a lot more difficult. Hopefully this kind of increases our rewards from these enemies too. Elites, maybe they'll drop Phoenix credits or something like that. That's not confirmed, but it's going to be nice to be able to actually have a challenge when you're out in the open world instead of fighting level 25s and it's kind of pointless. We're also going to get rebalanced NPCs weak points to be more consistent across the board. This impacts the amount of damage needed to trigger them and the amount of damage it does when triggered. A lot of times you'd be shooting someone's weak point and you basically probably could have spent more time shooting him in the head and ended up with a more effective outcome. I always thought that the weak points were kind of weird, so hopefully it's going to be a little bit easier to actually affect them and activate them than it was before. Next up, you can now convert 3 high-end division tech to any of the high-end crafting materials. So there's now a use for all of our division tech. Thank you, Massive. This is an amazing feature. This is something that needed to be added to the game, and they added it. They're also reducing the Phoenix credit cost of 204 high-end and 240 gear set items and blueprints. The special equipment vendor in the tech wing now only sells items and will no longer sell blueprints. The blueprints have been moved to a new vendor in the new area of the base, the terminal. You can no longer share an item that you have equipped. Adjustments have been made to NPC threat lists that cause players to stay in combat for larger periods of time. You will now leave combat after reaching a certain distance away from the enemy or after a set amount of time. So no more awkward 5-minute wait standing outside of the next to a dark zone gate trying to get out of the dark zone. That was really frustrating to me. It wasn't like game breaking or anything, but it was just one of those quality of life things that I'm really happy to see them pay attention to it and fix it. Players will now be disconnected from the game server if they are inactive for 15 minutes or longer, so we won't get cluttered servers anymore with people who are AFK. Players can now matchmake from inside no respawn areas and can fast travel into activities while the group is in a no respawn area. Again, just another quality of life improvement to the game. And this is going to be great for all the people who matchmake. I've heard a lot of complaints about this. You can no longer kick a group member in a boss fight and up to 1 minute after it has been completed. This restriction does not apply to group members who are AFK or outside the mission area. So now if you go in and you matchmake with some friends or matchmake with random people, you wouldn't matchmake with friends, to complete an incursion or a daily mission, now the group leader of that particular group won't be able to kick you right before the boss dies or during a boss fight, so you can't collect the rewards. This is something that was a kind of a griefing point for a lot of players, so this is great that it's being fixed. Players can no longer deploy mobile cover skill while they are performing a cover-to-cover move, preventing more exploits. And now exotic damage resilience is now capped at 90%. Next up is a bunch of weapon changes, but I have made a video regarding that, so if you guys want to go check that one out and learn more about the guns, feel free to do that. Now there's been some changes with some items. Every gear piece now has a set of mod slots that can't be recalibrated. This change only affects gear though that has been dropped after update 1.3. Each gear piece will now have 2 mod slots for the chest, 1 mod slot for the mask, 1 mod slot for the knee pad, 1 mod slot for the backpack, 0 mod slots for the gloves and the holsters. Also, holsters will now always have 3 attributes. After that, they talk more about the nerfs coming to the Sentry's Call and the Striker's Battle Gear, but I want to make a specific video talking about that, so if you guys want to read this for yourself, then you can check out the link in the description box below and go and read it before I make that video. Hopefully I'll get that out in the next few days. The Dark Zone is also getting some changes. Coming with a 231 plus gear score Dark Zone bracket will include more powerful NPCs. DZ01 and 02 will have level 33s, 03 and 04 will have level 34s, and 05 and 06 will have level 35s. So get ready to be absolutely murdered in DZ 0506 unless you are extremely equipped. Also, DZ 0506 and gear score bracket 201 to 230 will now have a chance to drop gear score 229 high ends and 268 gear sets. And Dark Zone chests now scale better with the gear score bracket and the zone you are in. Some loot changes coming to the game include the high-risk, high-value targets have had their rewards and difficulty adjusted to take into account the gear score increase, so these are going to be a lot more difficult. And the Caduceus can now drop from hard mode mission bosses. This originally was only dropped by named enemies out in the open world. The people had killed all of their named enemies out in the open world, and they didn't respawn. They had to nerf that because people started farming stupid freaking Bullet King. So that was taken out of the game, so it's good to see it finally making a return. You can go and collect that gun. And normal mode missions now drop superior items, so people who are playing it can actually level up a little bit quicker. And green division tech will no longer drop in the Dark Zone after level 30. Some new changes coming to the UI, which are great. They added a base weapon damage value that makes it easier to compare your weapons. So now you don't have to take all of your mods off of your guns in order to see what the base damage of it is. This is amazing. I wanted this so bad. Thank you, Massive. Next, gear mods and weapon mods are now combined in the same inventory display, and added a new inventory slot for misc items. I'm not sure what is actually going to be contained within misc items. I guess we'll have to wait and see. And improved the visibility of supply drops on the mega map. So now we'll be able to see where they are, because originally it was kind of hard to spot. They were just these small yellow dots. After that is a huge list of bug fixes that I am not going to read because that would take forever. And then there are a few PC specific bug fixes. So if you guys want to read all of those for yourself, come and check out the link in the description box below. Go read those. It's an enormous list. I don't want this to be like a 30-minute long podcast video. Just want to let you guys know some of the big features that are changing, some things that I'm really excited for. I think this is going to be a really solid update. Hopefully it doesn't break anything when they launch it. But with 1.2, they didn't break anything with that. So I'm hopeful for this one. I think this is going to be really solid. I'm super excited for it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of these changes. What are you most excited about? What do you think is actually going to improve the game the most from these patch notes? Excited to hear your answers. Drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more of the Division content. And until next time, this has been Boomslangg, and I will see you in the next video.